Hi everyone, my name is Mark Deere, and in this video I wanted to talk about people who you've never met meaning something to you. Now, I had the idea for this video quite a while ago actually when Otto Nemmens passed away, because the camera that I shoot on was used, it was from his company, right? And I felt really affected when I heard that he passed away earlier this year. And a couple of days ago, Rob Reiner passed away. And I was really emotional. I was really sad about it. And I've never met Rob Reiner, but his work has meant so much to me, especially his film The Princess Bride, and then Spinal Tap and A Few Good Men, and I could list countless films that he's made. But later, when he made kind of simpler films like Flipped, it was kind of just a dumb movie with two perspectives of two kids. It was a beautiful film. He made a lot of great films. I was really sad to hear that he passed away. It meant a lot to me. And this is the thing, there are people living, like Chris Crawford. I consider him one of my greatest mentors. He was an early employee at Atari, and he talks about, game development and, later in most of his career actually, since about 1992, even earlier than that, he was focused on interactive storytelling. He means so much to me, and I've never met him, and I probably never will meet him. We've sent a few emails to each other. Like I've emailed him a couple of times and he's replied to me. But yeah, there's something magical about the concept to me that someone who you've never met can mean so much to you. I'll never forget, I don't remember the year, but years ago now, I was in my early years of teaching, my first few years of teaching. Maybe I'd been teaching for a few years at that point, but I remember driving to work one day and I heard that Chris Cornell had passed away. He was the lead singer of Soundgarden and he did solo work, and he did an album called, I think it was called like Temple of the Dog, with the guys from Pearl Jam, or some of the guys from Pearl Jam. They kind of did an album together, and that was a good album. But anyway, Chris Cornell, and I pulled over and actually was really emotional. Like I had to pull over when I heard about it because, his music meant so much to me when I was a teenager, and I was just so sad to hear about it. And yeah, I've never met him. I don't really know him personally. I only know his work, but he meant a lot to me. And I thought, yeah, this is definitely a thing, and I'm sure you can reflect on the people who you've never met who mean something to you, who, are what you would consider an important part of your life, or someone who's shaped your life, right? And yeah, I think, I don't know if it's better to never meet them and let them be what they are. There's another concept people always say, like, separate the art from the artist. It's like, their art, but you don't know what they were like as a person. Maybe they were crazy, maybe they were whatever they were. Neurotic. It's like Van Gogh, who never got to see any success, right? But, he had a lot of mental issues, but he created masterpieces now, everybody says. So it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, there are other artists who you have to separate the art from the artist themselves, because the artist stops you being able to enjoy the art because of their life, if you hear about their lifestyle. And it's funny, I do remember this from early years, because I listened to Beatles. I got into the Beatles. My mum listened to the Beatles, but then, like the early Beatles, but then the later Beatles I got into, they released the anthology CDs back in the late 90s, and a friend made a tape of the best songs for me, or a guy I was in a band with. And, I got really into them, and then he gave me Revolver, and it just blew my mind. It was my favorite album of all time for a long time. And then people start knowing that you like that band, so they'd buy books about it for you, and I'd read books about them, and the more I learned about them, not the less I liked them, because they're such cool guys. And it's funny, I've come full circle now, I'm old, to be like, they were just doing the best they could in the situation they were in, and I saw Paul McCartney live in 2017, and it was probably the best gig in my life, he was incredible. And talking about the art, but the artist, he just seems like such a giving and awesome guy. I mean, you don't know them personally, but what they've done means something to you. The work they put into things means something to you. And it's especially true with creatives and for me, filmmakers. Like, so many filmmakers mean so much to me. And I've never met them, and I'll probably never meet them, but that's okay, because it's their art that means something to me. But yeah, especially when someone whose work matters to you, or who you consider someone who's important in your life, like when you hear that they pass away, it is sad. It is sad, even though you don't know them. And yeah, I was really sad to hear about Rob Reiner, but his work will live on, I guess. And yeah, again, I don't really know much about him as a person. I heard him on a director's podcast once, and that was really influential for me, because he talked constantly about ideas. I've talked about that in another video, rather than talking about the techniques of filmmaking specifically, and that's how you know that he was an expert. And yeah, his films speak for themselves, obviously. He really was a very talented filmmaker. And I always enjoyed his acting performances too. I always enjoyed him as an actor. But yeah, people you've never met can mean something to you. And it's funny, because I'm doing these videos. I've done, I don't even know how many hours worth of these videos I've done now. And it's interesting to think, well, people come back and keep watching. Do I mean something to people who I've never met? If I ever get an opportunity to meet you, I'd love to meet you, you know. And I think next year when I move back to Brisbane, I'm going to try to have meetups or something maybe. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Maybe that'll never happen. But yeah, it's interesting because there's a lot of people on YouTube who I've never met who mean something to me, you know, and I'd be sad if I didn't get to hear from them semi-regularly. So, you know, it is kind of the parasocial thing, I don't know if it's healthy or not, but I don't know. I think there's something to it. There's, you know, people mean something to you if they're a part of your life. And it's the same with listening to podcasts. You listen to podcasts for years. Like, I've been hearing these people talk forever. And it feels like they're your friends, but they're not your friends. You've never met them, you know. They don't care who you are. So it's really interesting. Anyway, I just wanted to talk a bit about that idea today because, yeah, it's recently came back to me to think, you know, how does someone I've never met mean something to me? But they do because their work mattered to you and it helped shape who you are, you know, especially people from your formative years. I think that's why hearing about Chris Cornell made me especially sad, because when I was growing up and I was, you know, trying to think through things, he helped me through a lot of things through his music, you know. Yeah, okay, that's enough for today. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Is this something you've experienced or am I crazy? I don't know. And yeah, thanks to everyone who's subscribed and been watching all the videos. I know I'm putting out a lot of them in these last couple of days to get to the 100 videos in 100 days project, and some people are still watching them, so thank you to the people who are watching them. And yeah, if you haven't already signed up for my email list, you can go to markdeere.com, like just look at my name, it's just markdeere.com, and you can sign up for my email list. I'm going to be emailing out email updates next year with the things that I'm doing story-wise. So thanks everyone, thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.